Oh man. Um what up, black man? Welcome to the Beneficial Black Man podcast, where we journey together to overcome mediocrity and become beneficial for our community by sharing lessons from the highs and lows of life. I'm your host, Jamal Calpin. How y'all doing? Hopefully you're doing well, protecting your mental, finding time for an emotional release valve, and continuing to strive to become beneficial. So let's just get into it. So we're gonna do the mental check-in and then talking about what I learned from this week and what advice I would give from what I've learned. Either to a younger self or to you if you need it. I do want to talk about the importance of living a flexible lifestyle, though. But before we get into that, let's do the mental check in, which is looking back and reflecting on the high of this past week, the low of the week, and then asking if we've been creating something, because creating is very important to so is an important tool to manage our mental and emotional health. Like, we should always be creating something, making something, producing something. And I don't mean it in the way of like being productive every day and like stressing yourself out, but like we carry stuff in our minds and in our hearts, and if we don't release it in a constructive way, it messes us up. So that's why it's important to create. It's important to create. Um, what up, Daniel? What's up, my guy? Peace and blessings, friend. Glad to see you pop. Appreciate it, man. Appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So let's get into it. Let's see the mental check-in. High. What's has been the high of my past week? I've been trying to think about that. I'm not sure. This past week was kind of busy. Went out of town twice. Drove around a lot. Been working. Uh, I mean, by default, I'm here. So that's the high. I'm glad. I'm grateful to be alive. I'm very, very grateful to be alive. I appreciate that. And that's something I definitely have been working on, trying to make sure that I keep optimism and positivity in my life. Because, depression can creep up on you and take you out. So I'm grateful for that. I've been trying to use tools and resources to make sure that I'm staying in a good place mentally. So I'll take that as the high. The high is I'm grateful to be here. The low, which I'm not gonna try to talk too much on it, but the low is, so over the weekend I posted a short from a video that I created um called You're No Longer a Commodity. And the whole idea was to to talk to black men and realize that we're more than very often what this culture says about us. It says about us as men, says about our people, says about our women, our children, everybody. That, since we've gotten here, we've been looked at as a commodity. And sure, it looks different. We aren't walking around in shackles. Uh, but very often, industries and the economy here and the society here looks at us, and not only us as black people, but looks at people as commodities, as just resources, as just numbers. Um, Even, a lot of people have employee numbers. So you go to your job, you check in or whatever, and they check on you. All it is a number. Sometimes people don't even know your name when they're looking at the HR stuff and making sure your paycheck goes out. Can care less about the name. What's that social security number? You're just a number. Like, you're just a resource or a commodity to help them make money, right? So I did a short of just a little piece from that video that I did, really trying to encourage us to really appreciate ourselves more as people and as black men, getting away and divorcing ourselves away from all the negativity and the negative thoughts and negative outlooks that are said about us, the perceptions that are had about us as black men. And so in there, I talk about this concept, talk about this idea, and also reference that, at one point in time, we were considered, on paper, three-fifths of a person. And, it was in a way at that time to help with their politics or whatever, but we weren't counted as a full person. It was in a way to manage things, manage their resources, and manage their commodity on plantations. So I mentioned that. And what was kind of astounding to me is I forgot that I had made that short. I just scheduled it out, right? So you can schedule content to go out on your YouTube channel. I forgot that I posted that. Went back to check on my YouTube channel to get ready for one of my lives, and I saw that it had like all of these views and all of these comments. And so I'm like, "Oh wow, this is crazy." And I forgot what the short was about. I pulled up the comments and I was like, "Oh, wow, a lot of people were triggered, I guess, or offended by my video." And the craziest part to me was that majority of the responses were from people that weren't black. Um, a lot of the negativity and a lot of the comments and stuff were from people who weren't black. And so since I received so much, like I had like 41% dislikes or something like that, like for this clip. Again, this clip was just to be a reminder, like, hey, black man, just keep in mind that you're special, you're valuable, you are not just a commodity, you're not just a body here in this country, as they have looked at us as just a body. They have not looked at us as humans, as men. Even towards our women, they haven't looked at us respectably, and very often they still don't. I mean, well, whatever. And so that was the whole point of the little, 30-second clip. But I got all this response. And I wasn't I don't think I was angry. I think I was more like just shocked at how people like have so much to say even when it's not about them. So I took screenshots, like, okay, so I disabled the comments on the thing because it was just ridiculous and it's not constructive. The video is still up, the short is still up. People can still watch it. They can share it and talk about it all they want. I don't care. But I disabled the comments. And so I took screenshots of the comments because I wanted, like, this is, I don't know. I'm going to read a couple of them. And I just thought this was crazy. So, these are some of the comments, this one says the victim mindset dilutes the human potential. By not accepting personal responsibility for our circumstances, we greatly reduce our power to change them. Okay. Um, this guy down here, you don't know anyone who was a slave. You don't know anyone who owned slaves. Definitely in my family tree, uh, we can trace back at least 4 or 5 generations to my, great 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 grandmother being a slave. It's on record. That wasn't that long ago. I don't know why people are acting like this was thousands of years ago. No, there are people who have talked to grandparents or even great grandparents who were like one generation away from somebody that was a slave. It's not that far away, but people like to say what they want to say. Um, this one was kind of wild. You were not three fifths of a person. Nobody alive today in this country was three-fifths of a person. As the first generation daughter of a Guatemalan immigrants that showed up to this country with $117 in their pocket, I can say that without a doubt, as a land of opportunity, this country is one of those the easiest countries in the world, regardless of your skin color. You should be leading your people to prosper, not ripping open old wounds that should have healed long ago. Should have healed long ago. That's interesting. Should have. I think you're assuming that actual work was done for it to be healed. I think that's a big assumption. Um, and, so like comments like that. There was one. Hold on. This guy. My Irish ancestors were slaves to Barbary pirates. That was their problem, not mine. Live for today. Okay. I'm not trying to dwell on it. I'm just again pointing out that that is a reality and it does have an impact. Uh, that's science, history, psychological. Like there's research on this that it. Anyways, this person down here, wine, wine, wine. Okay. This one was kind of wild. Your ancestors were three-fifths of a person. You are too. The irons are coming, boy. Ooh, ooh. This guy, you know nothing of the horrors of slavery. Only the entitled would be so blessed to live in the USA and dare say that they are still looked at as a slave. The victim mentality is a way to avoid accountability for your own life, a mentality that only the extreme privileges in excess this country provides allows you to have. You don't know what your ancestors went through. How dare you compare your soft, privileged, spoiled, entitled, indoctrinated, ignorant self to the slaves? Grow up. What? What? Uh, what do you? Are you? It's just wild to me. Like, it's just wild to me that I'm expressing something that's my experience and that I know from myself and I've heard from other collective experience of black people that this has an impact on, but you want to come over into my conversation with my brothers, with my community, and pretty much say, get over it, shut up, get over it. You're being entitled, you're being ungrateful. All I'm trying to say and encourage is we need to continue to reframe our mindset so that we can be better. At no point am I claiming to be a victim. I admit that I am, but I know I'm also the result of surviving here. I'm also the result of my ancestors surviving through the chaos and the ridiculousness that was that they were drawn into. Yes, I am a survivor of that. Yes. But I think it's important to note before you become a survivor, you have to be a victim. I was just talking to my wife about that earlier today. Like, you were a victim first, and then you became a survivor. Like, this stuff is. Anyways, so like these were some of the comments that I was getting on this reel, right? And it was just like just mind blowing. But hey, I mean, it's the internet. It's the wild wild west. What's going on? What's going on, London Link? Gang, gang. Daniel says lots of times it's really bots that even this platform is programmed to respond to because all races of non-Negro are united to keep Negroes from empowering. Facts, you know, like I don't. It's so strange that when we try to do anything for us to try to get somewhere better, and it's been the case even before the internet. Like we make an effort to try to do our best to be better for ourselves, take care of ourselves, advance ourselves. Something happens, comes along, and throws a wrench in it, and messes it up. So I don't want to dwell on that too much, but like, you know, it's just wild. And so that was the low of my week. That trying to do something for my community, for my brothers, and then people come along and want to complain and say all kinds of crazy stuff. Anyways, so that was the low. Next, creating. This week I did some writing in different ways, which was kind of cool. So there is a voice dictation tool in Windows, and I'm not sure if it's on Macs or anything like that, but it's a voice dictation tool. So if you speak into a microphone, the program will just start typing away for you. And so I played around with that. That was kind of fun. And I also found out about this new AI tool called Text Effects, which let me see if I can pull it up real quick. Is Google? Okay, there's. It's a It's supposed to be an AI program or AI tool to help you write. And excuse me, and it was created with Lupe Fiasco and Google, and so it's the Text Effects project. And so I was playing with that yesterday when I was doing my create space, and that was pretty cool. It's pretty fun. Like there's a video of Lupe Fiasco writing like some verses for a song, and he's using the program. And Lupe Fiasco's dope already, but it was kind of cool seeing how he used this tool to help him in the songwriting process. So that was my creating, doing the voice dictation, writing kind of thing, and then also playing around with text effects. Thought that was pretty fun. I thought that was pretty fun. Okay, so what did I learn from this past week? The two big things that I learned from this past week is to be flexible and to don't be distracted. To be flexible and to don't be distracted. So what I think was interesting. So like I mentioned earlier, this past weekend, my family and I we went out of town to visit some more family, and we came back, and then a couple of days later, my mother-in-law realized that she had forgot her wallet, and we were up near Philadelphia, so she forgot her wallet in Philadelphia. So we were like, oh, you kind of need that, and so just one, I'm grateful for the opportunity to be able to have done this, but the flexibility to be able to like, okay, sure, I got some plans, but this is something that's important. So let me just not be stressed out about it and frustrated about it that we need to move things around to get this done. So me and my wife drove up, picked up the wallet, and came back. And so again, I'm grateful and I'm blessed to have that opportunity to do that. But something that I've wrestled with for a long time is in my attempt to be my best self in my personal development and to be productive and stuff like that. Sometimes I get really, really rigid in the way that I do stuff. Like I like to have routines. I like to get up at a certain time. I like to do things at a certain time, and I like to get in the flow. And it at times it makes me feel good that I can accomplish those things. So if I have a to-do list, I can just mark it off. As I've been growing and maturing, I realize that life doesn't always work that way. It's not always a picture perfect, everything fits in a box in a right schedule or something like that. No, like you really do need to go with the ebbs and flows of the day. And for me, in managing my stress levels and stuff like that, I've just been learning to let some stuff go. It doesn't mean that I don't have standards or that I don't have goals or I don't have things that I want to accomplish every day. I'm still committed to being diligent and getting work done. But I I'm learning that it's beneficial to stay loose and to not hold on to things so tightly in life. Not that that doesn't mean that you don't value those things, but you just don't hold on it so tightly. Like I know, especially during COVID, as it was ramping up and we were learning the severity of what's going on, uh, so many people's plans were canceled. So many people's plans, trips, and things that they may have been planning for years was canceled. Stuff you wanted to do, places you wanted to go, cancel, just cancel left and right. At the time, my wife and I, we were living in an RV full time, and we were traveling and trying to make our way up the East Coast. And so we were making plans for like, okay, we're traveling and we're going to get back to the DMV area, and these are the things that we're going to do. By the time we got up here, majority of the stuff that we wanted to do was closed. A lot of the opportunities that we were pursuing couldn't happen. And since then, really just been learning that like, yo, I'm going to drive myself crazy if I keep trying to hold on so tightly and like constrict my life. And so much so that, you trying to make everything perfect in your life sometimes can hinder you from enjoying it, can hinder you from feeling free or even being present for the things that are necessary. Like there have been times that I know I have some work to do, but say I get a phone call. Like sometimes I'll get phone calls randomly. Say like I just got a phone call during this live, and I'm gonna have to call my brother back. But like there are times where I've been working and I got a deadline in mind, but I'll get a phone call and I'll check it'll say who the contact is. Like, yo, I haven't talked to that person in months. I'm learning that it's better for me to honor that moment. Like, I might need to talk to this family member, or I need to talk to my brother that I haven't talked to in ages to see what's going on with them. Because I can always come back to the work, you know? And I know everybody's situation is different, but every day I think it's beneficial if we learn to just loosen up. Because there are things that we can't control. Some things you just can't control, but you can still make the most of life by being flexible. By being flexible. And the other thing, like what I learned from this week, don't be distracted. There's just, I think that was just quick. There's just so much going on all the time. All the time. And it's just overwhelming. And I think, along with being flexible, as you identify the important things in your life and the things that you want to accomplish, you got to cut off the other stuff that's not helping you. So, like, what advice would I give? Hold every day loosely. Hold every day loosely. Be grateful for the day and just focus on trying to make the most of it today. Don't worry too much about the past and don't focus too much about the future, because both of those will stress you out. That at least for me, that has been my experience. Focusing too much in the future leads to anxiety, get stressed out, be worried about stuff, and you're not even present in your everyday life. Being so concerned and consumed about the past or things that you've done or things that you didn't do also has the same impact, and it can drag you down. Just be present with today to the best that you can and just kind of go with the flow. Go with the flow, make the most of it. If something pops up, whether it's a good thing or a bad thing, you're capable of handling it and making the most of it. So just go with the flow. And in regards to don't be distracted, take time to identify your values and priorities in life and do what you can to make sure your life aligns with the things you believe in and desire. So if you're, trying to get in shape, and change your physique or whatever, if you got a choice between an apple and a donut, you might have to make that decision. Well, is it worth it to eat this donut, or should I just eat this apple? But you have to identify what your values are and not be taken off course of what your goals are and what you're trying to get done. It can be challenging, it can be difficult, but you can do it. It all starts with making a decision to not be distracted, not pulled away from what's important to you. And that can be in any aspect of your life. If spending time with your friends and your family is important, don't let other things get in the way of it. You can figure out a way to do what you care about, what is valuable to you, And in wrapping up this episode, I just wanted to share a scripture that kind of resonated with me with this thing about being flexible and not being distracted. It's James. Let's see if I can pull it up. It's James chapter 4, verses 13 to 15. And this is in the English Standard Version. It says, come now, you who say, today or tomorrow we will go into such and such a town and spend a year there and trade and make a profit. Yet you do not know what tomorrow will bring. What is your life? For you are a mist that appears for a little time and then vanishes. Instead, you ought to say, if the Lord wills, we will live and do this or that. And so that's the thing. Like, every day really is a gift. It is, there's this quote from the movie Kung Fu Panda, and I can't remember the sensei's name, but it was the turtle in the first one in Kung Fu Panda, and he talks about, today is a gift. That's why it's called the present. And so I think it's important that we embrace that. Again, and embrace it. Every day is a beautiful gift. Even with the obstacles and challenges that come, depending on our perspective and how we want to respond to it, we can make the most of it. We can make the most of it. And that comes down to, again, not being distracted and staying focused on the things that really are important to us. And I think that all ties down to our mental health and our emotional well-being and what we're thinking, what we're believing. All those things impact the way that we act, and we just got to take it a day at a time and just be present in the day. Another quote that comes to mind is for those who are into like martial arts and stuff, but there's, a famous quote from Bruce Lee, and he's like, be like water, flow, just go along with it. I think the whole quote is like, water, it can take any form and it's flexible and it's able to move. Water, it can be still or it can crash. if necessary. It can fit into any container. It can freeze and expand. It can do all kinds of crazy stuff. And he's like, be like water. And I think that's very true. Every day we can just be like, all right, today is an amazing day. Sure, there are things that I want to accomplish, things that I want to do. And I'm going to pursue those things. But if an obstacle comes up, we'll figure out how to get around it. If something else better pops up, I'll pay attention to it. You can keep striving for your goals, and you can keep striving to become beneficial at the same time remaining flexible and by not being distracted. But, that's what I wanted to share. Those are the highs and lows. That's where I am on my journey. In the comment section, let me know what's going on with you. Hopefully, let me know your high. What was the high of this past week for you? I'd really, really curious to know. But Black man, you're called for more than mediocre living. You're here for a purpose, to live for glory and for good. Protect your mental, find time for an emotional release valve, and keep striving to become beneficial. I believe in you, Black man. Go make something for yourself, something of yourself, and for glory and for good. I'll talk to y'all later. Be safe out there. Peace.
Yo, I realize life can feel like trash sometimes. It's like you keep catching L after L, and nothing you do seems to make life any better. I've been there. Disappointed, frustrated, tired, beat down, just feel like giving up. What I've learned is that all you need to make it through the ups and downs of life is just a little bit of help. So I want to share with you the tools that I've learned to turn my bad days into good days. These simple pieces of wisdom have changed my life, and I know they'll change your life too. So go get a copy of my new book, Make Bad Days Good, a set of simple tools to take control of your life, on Amazon today. Listen, things can get better. Peace.